What is up, everybody? My name is Reggie, and today we are doing my second annual mid-year board game tag. That's a mouthful. And what we're going to do is have 8 questions. I'm going to answer them all here based on January 2024 to present day. And I'm going to tag 8 creators in the description below where you can see the questions as well. Feel free to comment your answers below if you're just watching. The creators I chose are people I've been watching a lot this year. I tried to pick some new folks, but I did have 2 exceptions. Number 1 being the Brothers Murph, who I just wanted to congratulate on their successful Kickstarter campaign. I was one of the 888 backers, really excited for them, as well as the Ladies Down Under Thinker Themer, who I crossed paths with so much at Dice Tower West, and yet we haven't had a chance to collaborate because we are just so far apart on this planet. So I thought this might be a nice way for us to pseudo collab. So let's get started right away with question number 1. Question number 1 is, what is your favorite game this year? Now, I have lots of favorite games. I have favorite games of all time, and yet this one is a game from 2023 that I have only played once, and that is Dune Imperium Uprising. So I was so impressed with this game, playing it for the first time at Dice Tower West. You can check out my recap video. I love the theming. I love the gameplay. It's that perfect blend of deck building and worker placement. And what Uprising adds is especially one thing I love, which are the spies mechanic, which helps you from preventing yourself from being blocked if you have some forward thinking. And I tend to really love that in worker placement games. Games like Viticulture, where you have the Grande worker, or Flamecraft has a small mechanic with this. I just love being able to, not be completely cut off in a cutthroat worker placement game. And then you add the deck building in there. Paul Dennen and Direwolves, the publisher, have really outdone themselves, and I think for me, I like this game so much, it makes me want to go play his other games. Dune Imperium Uprising was my biggest favorite game of the year so far, and I just can't wait to get my hands on my own copy. I'm waiting to have some more free time. I am certain that you will see it on a board game haul some point before the end of the year. Dune Imperium Uprising. Question number 2 is, what is your most played game? So this might not be your favorite game out there, everybody, but for me, it's very easy, and that is Sea, Salt, and Paper here, designed by Bruno Cathala and Theo Riviera. Please excuse my French. I have the Pandasaurus published version, and I have the Extra Salt expansion. Great little game, 2 to 4 players. Every single person I have taught this to, it has sung or been amazing with, except for my in-laws. They just couldn't grok it. Some of the mechanics and the duos just really didn't hit with them. It's so easy to get to the table. We've played this at an airport. We've played this on a plane. We played this at the coffee table. My wife loves this game. It's great at 2. It's a totally different game at 2 than I think it is at 3 or 4 players. I'm playing it on Board Game Arena. All my gamer friends, my non-gamer friends, it is just an absolute hit. I'm sure you've heard many people talk about this, but Sea, Salt, and Paper really is the go-to card game, and I don't see that changing in the next few years. A game like Scout, which I've played 50 times or so, has kind of died down for me in the last year, whereas Sea, Salt, and Paper just keeps climbing. Both great games, but that's the one that's getting the nod for my most played game of 2024 halfway through. Hello there, Frankie and I want to let you know that we actually have a Patreon now. So if you like what we're doing over here on the RollingReggie channel, you've got 3 levels to support, even as low as $2 a month. Thank you so much for considering it. Obviously, you don't have to spend money. A like, a subscribe, just sharing a video will do it all. But Patreon's going to offer people availability to vote on my monthly video recommendations, and there's going to be a lot of extra content on there, like playthroughs and special videos that aren't great for the algorithm. Now back to the video. Number 3 is the other game on display here. What is your biggest surprise? And for me, that is Ticket to Ride in general, but especially this Japan map. I am so in love with this game right now. Beautiful art on the board, and it has these little bullet train mechanics. So now, if you've played Ticket to Ride, it's very similar, except for the bullet train now are a gray track, so you can use any color cards, but as soon as you place them down, there's a shared pool of bullet trains, and anybody can ride the public transportation to complete their tickets. It is just such a great way to make the game a little less blocky, a little less painful. And then they added a couple more, unique areas. There's these zoomed in areas, so inside the city of Tokyo, and then this island off the west coast of Tokyo, they kind of have their own zoomed in part on the map. I'll show you here. Beautiful, such a nice little twist on a familiar game by Alan Moon, Ticket to Ride. And also, just in general, I've been playing Ticket to Ride on BGA and just kind of watching some more videos, listening to some more podcasts. Shout out to the World Series of Board Games, their videos over there. I think I overlooked this game because I'm a real gamer now, and oh my gosh, it really has a lot more strategy than you'd think. It is honestly such a lovely design. I know it gets overlooked because it's a very big introductory game. My parents love Ticket to Ride, but nowadays it is going to be one of my go-tos. If I want to sit down for 45 minutes to an hour with people who maybe don't absolutely love board games, my bonus question for you here, for all the awesome creators out there, is what has been your go-to gateway game to bring people into the hobby? For me, the last 6 months, it has been Ticket to Ride. So that's my answer for biggest surprise and gateway game. So bonus question there for all of you. Number 4 is what production/art has impressed you the most? This was very easy for me, and it is Castles of Burgundy Special Edition, designed by Stefan Feld. It just blew me away at Dice Tower West. The deluxe dice and the tiles, just the art on the player board, it is just so lovely, so much attention to detail. A game that I really kind of overlooked, and I think because it was super bland before, many people can overlook those things. I like a beautiful, attention-grabbing production, and then when you have one of the most decorated, praised games underneath this beautiful production, it is just a recipe for success. I backed the new Kickstarter campaign where it will arrive in December, and I'm so excited to have it. It's probably gonna go right here on next to my nesting box. It is a giant box and very affordable if you back the Kickstarter. I believe it is very rare to have such a high quality game and high quality production merged into one. So Castles of Burgundy Special Edition is my choice. Question number 5 is what game do you want to get off of your shelf of shame the most? For me, this is a game that's been sitting on my shelf of shame, shelf of opportunity, whatever you want to call it, for about a year, and it is the same answer as last year, and that is Puerto Rico 1897. I really am eager to get this to the table. There's many reasons why people might not get a game off the shelf of shame. For this one in particular, there's no solo mode, not officially, and I just haven't had the right setting to play this. I really want to see what all the hype is about. This game was #1 on BGG for about 5 years. On top of that, it's got an awesome location that I have like a connection to my heritage for. They have revamped the theme to focus on this unique time in Puerto Rico's history where they were free from Spanish colonization and free from US annexation. So I just got to get this to the table. It hasn't happened yet, but I am prioritizing. I'm going to try to find the best group, someone who maybe has played the original version and a couple other friends, and we're going to get this to the table. I really want to play Puerto Rico 1897 by Andreas Seyfarth and the new version published by Ravensburger. Question number 6, which game that came out 3+ years ago did you just discover this year? So your best discovery, I'm gonna go 10+ years, you could do 5, whatever you want to do, because my game this year is a game that came out in 1994, and that is Take 5, or German called Six Nimmt. So this is by Wolfgang Kramer, and again, this is the 30th anniversary edition. So this game is as old as I am, has this really cool like elastic band it came with. Very simple yet ingenious, and it's hilarious that I've never played this game before, but basically there's numbers 1 through 104, and there are 4 rows. And the rows go in sequential order. Everybody reveals a card at the same time from a hand of 10. They have to be put in sequential order from lowest to highest. Once a row has 5, if your card would be the 6th card in that row, you have to take the entire row, which is bad. Before Take 5, I did not have a game that fit into this niche of playing up to 10 players, can basically teach to anyone, and you can play while socializing, maybe a beer or pretzels game. I am so happy to have this in my collection now. I was very, very tentative, thinking it was just gonna be okay, but this has been an absolute smash hit ever since I got it, and so Take 5 is my best discovery of the year so far. Number 7, which anticipated releases are you excited about for the second half of the year? You can put as many as you want. I'm gonna do 3 here. I'm gonna do 2 games and 1 expansion. Number 1 is called Cities, coming out by Devere. I don't know much about it other than it's Steam Steve Finn and Phil Walker Harding, one of my favorite designers, praise be, and I don't really need to know anything else. Both of these designers are pretty great. The box art looks awesome. I'm definitely gonna try out Cities. Secondly is Mistwind, very similar. The two designers here, Adrian Adamascu and Daryl Andrews, are Sagrada's designers, and they partnered up for that game, which is one of my favorite games, one of my gateway games that got me into the hobby. And this one has a setting where whales are giant transport vehicles that people use. Again, don't know anything about the gameplay, but the designers alone have got me intrigued. And my final thing I'm anticipating, which is I've gotten to try out on BGA, is the Forest Shuffle Alpine expansion. This is a game I've been defending. I know that people are upset about some of the balance in the games. I can totally see where people are coming from. And I do believe that the Alpine expansion does alleviate some of these problems by just adding a lot more things to do. And it's harder to get some, OP combos when there's just more things that people can go for. So the Alpine expansion has been really fun for me on BGA. So I'm definitely gonna get my hands on it whenever that comes to US market very soon. Number 8 is really simple and straightforward. What is your favorite video that you posted this year? If you don't make YouTube content, if you're on Instagram, if you're on TikTok, if you're on Twitch, if you make a podcast, whatever, what's your favorite thing you've created board game related this year? For me, it actually is my most recent video, which was the absolute beginner's guide to board games. I was so proud of this. I've had this idea for literally since I started the YouTube channel because there's so much information and I dove so deep into this hobby and kind of figured it out on my own, and there really wasn't a lot of content out there to get people into the hobby. It's very hard to navigate all the terminology, all the different types and styles of games and the mechanisms, and I'm just so glad to have finally put something together that you can send to your friends who are curious, a board game curious, and I'm really proud of that video. So go check that out as well if you are interested. So there's my mid-year board game tag. If you are a creator and you're watching this, you want to make a video, do so. Don't feel like you need to be tagged by someone. Copy the questions, give me a tag. I would love to hear your answers. If you don't make videos, comment them below. But I just want to give a big thank you to all the people who responded last year. It was so fun, and I hope we have just as much fun this year. Rodney from Watch It Play, Dwayne from Blackboard Gaming, Rado, Foster the Meeple, Jenna from the Board Game Garden, and everyone else who responded from multiple tags. I really, really appreciate you. I'm excited to have some fun again this year. And finally, thank you to my first 2 patrons ever, Liz H and Peter N. You guys are awesome, and I really cannot thank you enough. If you are all thinking about it, check me out on Patreon. We've got some nice exclusive posts already out there and more to come. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.